poverty, war, and terror are the sad but common lot for much of humanity. Eager to put an end to such suffering, many people embraced an institution promising to bring about world peace and global justice. The United Nations, presented to Americans as mankind's last best hope for peace.
But what's puzzling you is the nature of my game.
Is this the Nazis invading Poland? Is it the Japanese attack on Manchuria? No, this is a United Nations peacekeeping force making war on the men, women, and children of Katanga. What was their crime? Like the 46 other countries that have gained independence since the end of World War II, Katanga, a portion of the Belgian Congo, wanted to be free and independent. But Katanga made the mistake of being pro-Western, pro-Christian, and pro-free enterprise. Why does an organization ostensibly formed for the purpose of keeping peace make war? That is the real story behind the humanitarian mask worn by the United Nations.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. You just call me Lucifer.
The first president of the United Nations General Assembly, Paul Henry Spaak, who was also a prime minister of Belgium and one of the early planners of the European Common Market, as well as a Secretary General of NATO, affirmed, "We do not want another committee. We have too many already. What we want is a man of sufficient stature to hold the allegiance of all the people and to lift us up out of the economic morass into which we are sinking. Send us such a man. Whether he be God or devil, we will receive him." David Spangler, Director of Planetary Initiative of the United Nations, said, "No one will enter the New World Order unless he or she will make a pledge to worship Lucifer. No one will enter the New Age unless he will take a Luciferian initiation." There are 195 countries in the world today. This comprises 193 countries that are member states of the United Nations and 2 countries that are non-member observer states, the Holy See and the State of Palestine. Therefore, all of the countries in the world are engaged in and have a relationship with the United Nations. What does that really mean for the sovereignty of the countries of the world?
The public is unaware that a treaty, such as the UN Charter, supersedes our Constitution. Former Secretary of State John Foster Dulles stated, quote, "Treaties make international law, and also they make domestic law. Under our Constitution, treaties become the supreme law of the land. Treaty law can override the Constitution," end quote. A Supreme Court decision has ruled that this applies also to executive orders, personal agreements, and international compacts entered into by the President and never even seen by Congress.
We of course realize that in the previous snippet the narrator was only speaking of the United States, but you can be assured that somewhere hidden in one of the many charters of the UN or in your own constitution that the same rules apply to all countries. United Nations, shaping our future together. Coming to a city near you soon.
Pleased to meet you. Hope you guess my name.
And now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it. And we've got to unite the rest of the free world in doing it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to participate for the 8th time at this important meeting. The damage done to our economies and our societies by COVID-19, it also has to confront the repercussions of a dangerous clash between major global powers. History is truly at a turning point. We do not yet know the full extent and the systemic and structural changes which will happen. However, we do know that global energy systems, food systems, and supply chains will be deeply affected. In times of crisis, the role of governments is more important and more relevant than ever. I wish you an impactful and successful meeting.
peace and stability are critical for continued economic progress and to secure a brighter future for generations to come.
We may have disagreements, but resolving them in a battlefield is not the right way to do it.
We have not lost our focus even today with all what is going on. It's tough, it's rough, but we can never lose our sight for our future.
Swiftly when the pandemic hit, and I promise you, we are there for our members who need us now. The old traditional financial system that we've had is kind of broken. Well, we already know the name of the new system of accounting. It's called blockchain. And the new system of money is digital money.
And let's be totally engaged. Waiting is bad for the planet.
Because technology is growing like this, right? Exponential. But we're growing like this.
These days are the days and years of opportunities. Let's grasp this.
I remember talking to an Australian diplomat at one point about this break between the US and China and said, you know, both sides are going to say, whose team are you on? And he said, our job is to make sure the question never arises. But the question has arisen. And so I think we have to go deeper. And it's not about the US versus China. It's about what underpins a world order is always the financial system. What underpins a world order is always the financial system. I was very privileged. My father was an advisor to Nixon when they came off the gold standard in '71, and so I was brought up with a kind of inside view of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. Of how very important the financial structure is to absolutely everything else. And what we're seeing in the world today, I think, is we are on the brink of a dramatic change where we are about to, and I'll say this boldly, we're about to abandon the traditional system of money and accounting and introduce a new one. And the new one, the new accounting, is what we call blockchain. It means digital. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy. It means having a almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, which will give us far greater clarity over what's going on. But also, this new money will be sovereign in nature. Most people think that digital money is crypto and private, but what I see are superpowers introducing digital currency. The Chinese were the first. The US is on the brink, I think, of moving in the same direction. The Europeans have committed to that as well. And the question is, will that new system of digital money and digital accounting accommodate the competing needs of the citizens of all these locations so that every human being has a chance to have a better life? Because that's the only measure of whether a world order really serves.